Due to possible harmful extremist content, parental discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of the station, its affiliates, or advertisers. The use of the show is only allowed with the express written permission of the producer and the host. So get ready for 2 hours of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show starting right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition. For June 3rd, 2026, July 4th is coming up, Barry. We are, a month away almost to the day. I think it lands on a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
It's exciting, man. Exciting. Very exciting.
Very cool. We talked a little bit on Sunday about how some of the celebrations are getting, some of the people that are performing there that aren't necessarily MAGA are freaking out because they're getting death threats and all the things that everyone on the right has to deal with all the time. And they're canceling. We got Kid Rock, obviously, going to be there. Vanilla Ice is all for it. And a few other people, but I would like to see him, I haven't seen Lee Greenwood's name pop up yet. There's a lot of people out there that are, just go to Nashville and wave a flag for about 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot more artists that are MAGA, but they're just afraid to come out. But think about this. This could be the opportune moment for them to do that. Kind of like Hulk Hogan did before he passed away. He came out and said, I can't be quiet anymore. I can't.
It is. And, it's also an opportunity for them to come out and say, look, I don't agree with Trump, but this isn't about Trump. Maybe he's there. Maybe he's not. Whatever. I don't care. It's about America, man. It's about our 250th anniversary and showing some damn pride in your country.
100%. Yeah. Well, these people, I think they really don't like America. They want to burn it all down. They want to see it destroyed. And a perfect example of that is just the Black Crows. Just recently, they had an Uncle Sam Black Crow pop up on the screen, and it got people excited because we're coming into our 250th anniversary. And that's not political. That's not MAGA. That's not Joe Biden. That's just Americanism. And they started chanting USA, and they got pissed about it. And about half the crowd left. And they hate America, period.
Yeah, they're like, we see right past that stuff and yada, yada, keep that out of here. It's USA, 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 and it got them ticked off. And so, like you say, a bunch of people left, and good on them. If you're going to put up patriotic graphics behind you, then, don't be upset when people start clapping for them, right?
I just don't think the Black Angels are talking to angels, man. I'm just telling you. I don't think it's angels they're talking to, unless they're the ones from down below. But hey, this is perfect reason to just not listen to their music ever again until they, admit they were wrong and admit that they shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done that. They love America, everything America stands for. They're the ones that made it political by doing what they did.
Yeah, by breaking up their set and starting to, talk down to everybody, and we're better than you, and we understand this stuff. You guys don't even follow politics, and you're chanting USA. It's disgusting, this whole better than you attitude. But I don't know. Anyway, while we're talking about the City of Angels, let's get into the primary races that occurred in California. First of all, Steve Hilton is on top of the game for the governor. Right, it's going to be a primary. It's going to be two people, him and Becerra, if I'm not mistaken, will be running for the governor of California. One Republican, one Democrat, which is pissing people off big time. And I don't know. Did you hear Gavin Newsom said he had some sort of an emergency string he could pull if this thing got out of hand?
Emergency string? You mean shenanigans?
Shenanigans, yeah. We have some emergency actions we can take if, this really comes down to 2 Republicans, I think was really what he was talking about. But who knows? They've still got all those ways. L.A., right? We've got Bass is in it. Pratt is hot on her tails. But, I've only seen it confirmed that Bass is there. You mentioned before that you saw it confirmed that Pratt is definitely going on to the runoff.
I don't know for certain, but I mean, I think it looks that way. That's what they're declaring, but we'll find out. We'll see if that actually happens or not. I mean, like you said, the mail-in ballots, I'm sure they're 99.999% Karen.
Well, no, they would have to be for, I think her name is Raman, R-A-M-A-N.
I'm sorry. Yeah. What the other lady? My bad. You're right.
Yeah, the one who's in third place right now, because Karen's locked in. Yeah. But the third lady, she could suddenly get a windfall here in the last minute and, edge out. And it's like 26 to 21% between the two of them. So, she's got to pick up 6% from the mail-ins. And all of a sudden you find out, people of Indian heritage, all mail in their ballots at the last minute. So, expect a huge windfall for her.
Yeah, she's a fake Republican, right?
No, she's a Democrat to the core. She's the one, if I'm not mistaken, who wanted to put all the MAGA people into internment camps. Or no, that lady was in Texas, but she had some other crazy stuff she was talking about as well. But very, very, very radical, much further to the left than Bass, as far left as Bass is, right?
I just want to see what the mail-in ballot percentage is. I just want to see that for my own knowledge. Like all these mail-in ballots that come in late, are they going to be for the Democrat, like 99.99%? Because if so, that's clearly fraudulent. That's just, those kind of numbers are not possible. I don't think.
Well, it's LA, man. They've got the machines in place. They've got it all done. If they want to do it, if they really feel the need to do it, they might. And I'll tell you right now, they're looking at nearly 5 months of a runoff where Spencer Pratt is going to be putting out all these ads like he's been doing. He's just a meme master. He really, truly is. He's got a team of memesters on his side, and they are just coming up with fire that he's releasing on a daily basis. Heck, he had that homeless encampment out in front of Raman, her $1 million or multi-million-dollar home. They set up a fake homeless encampment of paid actors to go sit out in front of her house and tents and do drugs, right?
Okay.
And she flipped out. She was so pissed. But why are you pissed? You want to be the mayor. Why are you pissed that there's a homeless encampment out in front of your home?
Well, they don't want it to touch them. They just want it to touch us. They just want us to be bothered by it and disturbed by it and hindered by it and see the crime rate go up and all kinds of things and put our children in danger. But they don't want their children in danger. They don't want themselves in danger. it's just who they are. It's kind of like Gavin Newsom cleaned up the homeless area when President Xi came. And then back to normal. It just shows how easy it would be for them to do it. They just choose not to do it because they like that.
We might even see some of that being cleaned up during the World Cup here, when like cities like Seattle are on the front page, right? Yeah. But they might just push the encampments out a little bit and, like not right by the highway, not where people are going to see you folks, just go into the back roads a little bit and hide away while the World Cup is here because we don't want to, make people see the real Seattle.
It's going to look like an army of Mr. Clean robots went in there and fixed it all up. It's going to be that clean. And they will do it because it's not that hard to do it. They just don't want to keep it that way for whatever reason. I think it's all part of just sort of demoralizing the masses and making people feel like, we can't fix anything. We can't get anything done because we don't have the money. We don't have the budget or whatever. It's all lies.
Yeah, I saw this really interesting article the other day talking about the fountains, all the different fountains and parks that Trump has cleaned up in Washington, D.C., and how it's just immeasurably better there now. These ugly statues that were covered in, F Israel, graffiti and ACAB and just, pure nastiness, sprinkled everywhere, all over it in graffiti. And they look like they were old and, decayed. And he cleaned them up to make them look absolutely stone polished, beautiful again. There was a fountain in one area where it had like 6 pools and they all go down into one another. And it had been in a state of decay for 20 years. It was overgrown. It hadn't seen water in 20 years. And he fixed it. And now it's beautiful. And they were talking to people on the street and they're like, yeah, we hang out here now. You couldn't hang out here before because it was just homeless people. But now we can come down here and it's a vibrant little part of the neighborhood that's fantastic. And, that's a city that's 95% Democrat and they're living in it and they're seeing that life is a lot better in our nation's capital right now.
Yeah, I really think it is part of the demoralization agenda. I mean, think about it. What has gotten it into just the regular masses' minds where they hate it? They're so upset about what Trump is doing, cleaning it up and making it look nice. And I'll give you another example as well that proves exactly what I'm saying. I'm not making anything up. Nick Shirley was just cleaning off graffiti, painting over it, and the Antifa and the far left and the lunatics on the left were protesting him and he's like, "What are you guys doing? Is doing a good deed? You're protesting me doing a good deed? What is wrong with you?
Trash.
Insane?
Like it's trash. Like, why are you mad? We're picking up trash. Like, really? But
they don't care.
Here's a clip last night from Fox News regarding the election.
In LA County, we have 51% of the vote is in, and Javier Becerra has 29.2% of the vote. Steve Hilton has what again, Alec? Sure, 22.6 and 22.4 for Tom Steyer. This is just in Los Angeles County, in deep blue Los Angeles County. When you see Kevin Corke put those numbers up on the board and you see a lot of red and you see some green and you see the blue you see is in San Francisco and Sacramento and Los Angeles and San Diego. There you go, Kevin. You see the blue right there? Yep. Well, the deep blue area, Steve Hilton with 51% of the vote in is at 22.6.
It's showing California, and it's like the blue in the two tiny little cities of San Francisco, Berkeley, and Los Angeles are for Hilton. I'm sorry, are for Steyer. Everything else is Hilton. It's just Hilton, crushing. The whole map is red with Hilton. And then for him to be doing that well in Los Angeles County, what did they say, 22% to 26%? He's down 4 points in Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
So if you're carrying the rest of the state like that, and you're that close in the biggest city, or the county, should I say, in the state, that always is the deciding factor for who wins. Literally San Francisco and LA determine everything in politics in California. And so if he's that close in Los Angeles, this could be a big, big, big upset. They'll have a Brit, man.
Yeah. And if they get a good guy in there and flip California around to where it's just wonderful again, it could become Republican from there on out.
Well, yeah. Now, keep in mind that he's got still the rest of the state is entrenched with Democratic power everywhere. Unions up to school systems. You know what I mean? It's the heart of the beast there.
Yeah.
And so, as the governor, you can do some things, but you're not going to make the big come around that you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't see how he could possibly do it. Cut taxes. You can't cut spending.
It'd just be the beginning of a shift. I mean, we're definitely under a paradigm shift. I mean, everything we're seeing is proof of that. It's just a matter of, is it going to happen now, or is it going to happen in, 5-10 years from now? It could be a slow churn. Yeah. And then we get to that point just by simply pushing through and pushing through and pushing through. But I mean, it's all a sure sign that something is changing and that people are waking up, and they don't like Democrat leadership because they really want to have prosperity. They really want to have opportunity. They really want to have freedom. Just, basic normal rights.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what he will do, Barry. He's going to slow it all down. The decay will slow down. People won't be running U-Hauls at the numbers they were, and they'll give it a chance for a while. You know what I mean? They'll say, hey, I was just about to leave, but this Hilton guy won. We got a Republican governor. I'm going to just, give it another 4 years out here. And if things turn around, they turn around. If they don't, then maybe we look at Texas again, in 4 years. But I think it might slow down the decay. But that's the best hope.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, man. That's going to be a hard win. You know what I mean? Because it's been that way for so long, and it's just entrenched in the psyche of these people. But a lot of people say that a lot of people in California really aren't Democrats because there's a lot of red areas. So I don't know. I'm not so sure I'm fully convinced that it's just a bastion of, Democrat lunacy.
It's like what Portland does to Oregon. We always have Doc on Sunday nights. He's in Oregon, and Portland's just a little loony bin in a big, big state full of people who, want to daily carry, open carry, and, like live on farms and have a completely different grasp on life than people in the city who thinks their food comes from the supermarket instead of a farm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yo.
yeah. Farm to table. I understand what farm to table is,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, anyway, then we've got, we can move over to Maine, I guess. Bernie Sanders' favorite guy, Graham Plantner. Boy, has this guy been a disaster. He's one scandal after another. He's on some like pedo dating app, getting sex messages from, multiple women. He had a Nazi tattoo on his chest for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
What he blamed it on a drunken night in Bosnia. So you got a Nazi tattoo on your chest. This is what is it? Michael Smercornish on CNN talking about this. I don't know. Let's see what you think. Was this just a drunken one night mistake, or was this a decision?
As for the tattoo, he didn't cover it until October of 2025, 18 years after getting it, and only when it became a political problem. Think about that for a moment. 18 years of getting out of the shower, 18 years of looking into the mirror and seeing the Totenkopf. That's not a drunken mistake in Croatia. That's a daily choice, sustained for nearly 2 decades.
The Democratic Party, that's CNN, are turning on this guy. He's looking like a lock for Senate, and he's getting, like, they're going to pull a Joe Biden on him. I really think they will.
And how will that play out? How do you think?
I can't tell you exactly, but I think it's going to happen. They're going to find one way or another. I mean, we've already seen the skeletons in this guy's closet to some degree. They might have some stuff that's even worse. And we're, again, they don't like him for his politics and whatnot. So I think they're willing to throw him under the bus because they don't need him and they don't like him anyway. And so therefore, if they have, a lot of people you want to blackmail to be able to control them, I think, this is their way of controlling this guy and saying, we've got the blackmail. You're going to leave. You're going to leave office. You're not going to run. We don't want you there. And then they'll put in some, handpicked little hen to take her place.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they do all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, it seems like they're kind of falling apart when you look back at it objectively. It doesn't seem like their plan that worked for so long is working like it used to. It's just mainly because, the court of public opinion is changing, and so they're having to deal with that, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem for them. The 80-22, it's not that public opinion, I think, is really changing. Is that they've gone so far to the left as a party to appease the Democrat Socialist and the rainbow crowd and all these other special interest groups that they've gone so far into really extreme positions that, I mean, it just makes no sense anymore. And now they're on the wrong side of all these 80-20 issues because they have to appease the far fringe of different radical, sections of their party.
Yeah, I don't let it go. I think this is all part of the bigger plan that they have, at the higher, the higher tier of Democrats. This is all part of their plan. And so they're not going to give up the woke thing. This is all part of their plan to take full control. There's a lot of Democrats that don't like it. I know, people that know Democrats that are middle of the road Democrats, and they don't like it. But they're not abandoning the Democrat Party, which is why this has continued. They should, they should do something to sort of spin off, like the Republican Party did with the Tea Party. We took over the Republican Party from the rhinos, from the neocons, and now MAGA is the Republican Party. But the left, they just don't have the courage to do that. They think that what Antifa is doing is a revolution.
Yeah, and they're all for it. It's kind of interesting. I was thinking of what you're talking like Chuck Schumer, say, who is, on the radical left, but he's also Jewish. He's a dual citizen of Israel. And I can't imagine that he's a big fan of, say, Imam Dami and some of the things that he's doing in New York, right? But what do? He's getting railroaded by that side of the party. And you kind of got to go along and retire at this point because you're not going to switch sides at 85, right?
Yeah.
There's so many people out there that, like you say, just there's this aspect on the left, the far left, party that if you don't agree with them on pretty much every single line item, then you're Hitler. And that's the problem, is it gets really, I mean, look at the craziness coming out of the Greens in the UK. The Green Party, they're aligned with the Muslim Party. And they're the most radical, like, environmental, like, far lefties, you know. There's a video of a trans lady guy, he's about 6 feet tall, in a dress, accepting, you know, the seat that the Green Party just won, that he or she just won. And he's doing it like next to all these imams who were part of the Green Party as well. And I mean, we've got video of them talking later saying, look, we're only, you know, we do not support what this Green Party is about in any way, shape, or form. We're just using it as a stepping stone to get a little power for now. We'll take it over. We'll do something. They'll probably end up taking over the Green Party, and it'll have nothing to do with, you know, environment anymore. It'll strictly be an Islamic, you know, political wing for Sharia and, you know, Muslim rule.
It sounds like a complete failure agenda, but let's be honest, the woke globalist agenda is, you know, the counter to the Republican Tea Party. This is their revolution. Ours was peaceful. Theirs kind of leans towards violence and many times is violent. You know, it's violent and vulgar. It's sort of a Sal Alinsky type tactics and even worse. So that's who controls the Democrat Party. I've said that over and over and over again, and I don't see anything else birthing. Do you see anything else birthing out of the Democrat Party right now as a counter to, MAGA, besides the woke global agenda?
It's the Democratic Socialist, you know, wing of the party, and it's very radical. That's the thing, right? That's their counter, is to say Donald Trump is a Hitler. We need to have full control of the economy. I mean, Bernie Sanders, we were just talking about him. He proposed a bill that will take half of all AI companies, right? The government will own half of all the AI companies, just confiscate their stock. Really? You know what I mean? It's like, how is that even possibly legal? That is socialism. That's what he's been his whole life, as a socialist. Of course, he wants to confiscate 50% of the, you know, ownership of all the AI companies in America.
Yeah, and just imagine they would use it. I mean, if you gave the government, well, they were using it anyway because they work in tandem with the big corporate entities. We live in a corporatocracy. That is basically what we're under right now. But the corporatocracy is working in tandem with the government, just like AT&T was spying on American citizens. This was under the Bush Junior years, and they were piping all that data into the government because the government couldn't do it legally, but they could get it legally through AT&T, who would then give it to them. So they've been working in tandem together forever. It's just the government and the large corporations working together as this one, like, monolithic entity that's basically going for full spectrum dominance. I think MAGA has turned that around quite a bit. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's just a war between common sense and lunacy. You know, it really is. What does MAGA really stand for that the people hate so much? We want to see a smaller, limited government that does things well, right? That doesn't do everything under the sun poorly and waste half its budget, but does the things it's enumerated to do in the Constitution very, very well, and it really doesn't do much outside of that pocket. You know, let's have a government that works for the country. Let's keep people accountable when they go to Washington, D.C. Let's make annual audits mandatory on any member of the House or Senate. Every year, you got to get a full audit, public. And, it doesn't even have to be public, quite frankly, as long as it is reviewed by an ethics committee that, says, yes, this is legitimate. You made money. You weren't insider trading. You weren't getting, all kinds of gifts from billionaires, and you actually went out and kind of earned it, so to speak. Right? That's all we want to see is honesty. You shouldn't go there to get rich. But folks, we've got to take a break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be right back after these messages. What is it, Blue?
All right, we're on radio break. Yeah.
My dog's wrapped up.
I'm going to grab me a tea. I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
Let's make it easier. Does this not make it easier for you? How does that make it easier? Right now. Right now. Make it easier for you? Come on, get up. Get up. Get up. You're up.
Good dog. Good girl.
My girl.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
I've come to the realization that she's pretty much deaf now.
She's what?
Deaf.
Oh,
she's mostly deaf now. It sucks, but she can't hear for shit. I can come up on her and clap my hands, and
yeah,
she doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is.
It's pretty bad too. Zeus comes over quite a bit, but he isn't the energy dog that he used to be. I mean, he comes over and he and I walk at the same pace now. I'm like, oh my God, you're catching up to me, Zeus, you poor boy, you. and poor little Nona's all over him. She's just jumping and jumping over him and on top of him. I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, oh, you poor dog. They'll be over probably later on, so,
Yep.
No word on Brent?
No, I haven't gotten a word.
That's very odd. Anyways.
Yeah.
Well, I switched the intro part for the when we do the encore part. So when
Mark,
we
you
have
gotta
the
remember,
archives,
he's very, very old and forgetful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Him in his tank top, showing off to the ladies. Yeah. Sure, okay. No. If anything goes, it'll be his health, not his mind. All right. We all know that.
I gotta say, about 1 o'clock today, I looked at my clock and it said it was Wednesday. I was like, oh shit, we're doing a show in an hour and a half. I totally.
Yeah, I kind of.
It was Wednesday.
I kind of messed up today too. I woke up at 9. I'm like, man, because I was up to 2 or 3, messing around, checking, watching YouTube and all sorts of other stuff, and then I'm like, I got up at 3, and I'm like, no, I'm going back to bed. And then when I woke up, it was 3 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what the heck happened? I don't know. Ever since I started taking these GPL-1 shots and that, I get wiped out pretty quick. But I've been losing weight like crazy. But it's like,
well, there you go.
Yeah. So, I lose about 2 pounds to 3 pounds a week, which is, pretty good. That's figure that out over the month, and that comes out to about 10 to 12 pounds a month. So, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
What happens when you lose the weight, though? Do you have to keep taking the meds, though, to maintain that?
No. After I reach where I want to, that's it. We just stop.
Well,
them. Then
you'll have to go.
But then the weight will come back on. Then,
the way this stuff works, it doesn't do that. We're under 30 seconds, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah, you just got to go get the surgery done to remove the old fat rolls that are still there.
Actually, this kind of kills that stuff and it shrinks everything down. Here's your countdown: 5,
stomach,
4, 3, 2, 1, and you're back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. Tonight we got Bullhorn Barry in the house. How's it going, Barry?
It's going well. I kind of was hoping that, I could kick back and listen to Brent, but I don't know what happened to him tonight, but I'm sure there's a good excuse. He's been so punctual many times before.
I'm sure he's doing fine. Just something came up, but no big deal. We've had him on the show for the last 5 years. It happens,
I just miss his, but I kind of like miss hearing what he has to say. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, he'll probably be back next week, but we'll figure it out. So we were talking about Bernie Sanders introducing a bill to have the public take a 50% ownership stake in the country's largest AI companies. The American AI Sovereign Wealth Fund Act would have the government tax AI companies, take 50% of the stock, and put it under public control. Sorry, you can't do that. You can put it under public control with regulations, but you can't put it under control by just, or confiscating 50% of the stock. And then what? Like the owner of the company goes out and says, well, I just got to get back up, to 51%, and then I take control. So he goes and buys some stock, and then the government buys a little more back so that they can get to 51, and Bill Gates buys another 1%, and then it's this fight, this battle over that 1% where some billionaire is fighting the government, and suddenly they're valuing the company in the trillions because they're just really battling over the last 1% and who can buy one more share at $100,000 or whatever. I don't know, sets up a potential nightmare as far as price wars could go. But either way, it's just a dumb idea. And Bernie Sanders obviously is the guy to bring it to you because the guy's a moron. And the good news here, folks, is that Bernie Sanders has never introduced a bill that made it into law in his entire career.
No way. Really?
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, that's what the article says here.
Well, what's he good for then?
Absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
Oh gosh. So yeah, that's the thing. And talk about the Democrat socialists. That is the danger there because they propose a bill, right? The socialists get control of the House and the Senate and here in the United States, and they propose a bill that, hey, what about AI companies? That's great. We already own them. Let's go to, what about the car companies? Let's pass a bill, swipe the pen. We own 60%. They own 40%. And we can control everything. You want cars to be more rounded? Let's make them more rounded, man. And then, step 3 is introduce stupid ideas left and right that they can't say no because, now the government and some bureaucratic board of whatever are making all the dumb decisions for these companies, i.e. running them into the ground, really running them into the ground, deciding what the price of corn is in Peoria. Right, deciding the slice of bread in Boston. What are the price of shrimp in New Orleans? All decided by government panels of people who may or may not have any experience whatsoever in the industries that they're commanding. Meaning you're just handing it over to somebody who went to law school and looks good in a tie and was able to win an election. Boom! Now they control the shrimping industry, and you're screwed. That's how the country falls apart, where you have to wait in the line for 5 hours to get groceries.
Yeah,
off your stamps.
Oh, and I'm sure all the small farmers, they would suffer. They always make the small because they really love the corporate model. You know what I'm saying? Because then they can put in all the GMO and the pesticides and the vaccines and the food and whatever they want to sort of control the masses. So giving the government control at this point, full control more or less is a scary thought. I mean, honest to God, that is a super scary thought to me. And I think that most people would run with that are in power, because we saw with the shamdemic how people really love to be totalitarians. They love to have, I mean, even at lower levels, they love to have power, like a security officer, demanding someone to leave a store or wear their mask. I mean, they love that, man. They just, to have that power, they love it.
Yeah, exactly. Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to bend over. Anyway,
they did that in China. Remember that? Where the people, they would pull up in the car and they made them like stick their butt out the window, and they stuck something in their anus to check for COVID. Remember that? There was video of that proved that.
Yeah, like, we're gonna take your temperature with this 12-inch strobe, yeah, whatever.
It's all demoralizing. They do this kind of stuff, and that happens when you give the government ultimate control. That's the kind of crazy stuff that will happen. But even worse, if you think that's bad, it'll be even worse than that, man. Mandatory. They will humiliate you in ways you can't even imagine.
And why is that? Because their number one goal is to what? Demoralize, Barry. Demoralize.
Yeah, okay, well, I figured it was, but yeah. I think we're kind of like wearing that record out a little bit, but maybe you can never wear that record out, because it's just one of those things that just needs to be said, because it's part of their tactic.
Well, it's the root of it all. Critical theory. I mean, we've been talking about that for years. Critical race theory, critical theory. It's you look at a society and you criticize, you break it down into its worst aspects and then say, why? Critical race theory looks at the worst parts of American history and just focuses on those and says, you can never, ever come back from this. It was too big of a sin. Slavery was just too big of a sin. We can never come back from this as a country. So therefore, America is lost. You know what I mean? That's an aspect of critical race theory, but also critical theory in general, because you're criticizing America. You can, get the race out of it and look at wealth dispersion in America, and say it's critical in a critical lens. All the billionaires have everything and you have nothing, and so therefore life is unfair and we need to tear it all down to start over. When in reality, there's a big difference between wealth disparity, but in reality, you've also got a situation where the poorest Americans live pretty damn well compared to the rest of the world. As somebody in the bottom 5% of income in the United States, would you want to be lifted up and dropped into India with, the same income? Probably never in a million years would you ever agree to that. Let alone living in India in the bottom 0.5% of the population wealth over there. I mean, you're going to die in 6 months because the life is so hard. So we as Americans have it really good because a rising tide lifts all ships. And it really has in the United States. You look around, folks, drive around. Beautiful homes everywhere, beautiful cars everywhere. People making good lives. There's a lot here. There's a lot of wealth in this country. A shocking amount of it, And so
go ahead.
Go ahead. We should be happy for what we have. We should celebrate this year. Forget who's the president right now. And just look at America and say, you know what? We've had people from both sides of the aisle through the years. Some have screwed up. Some have done great things. But we are here as America today because of all those people and the two sides of the aisle that have fought back and forth with each other for the last 100 years to get us where we are. You know what I mean? Let's just celebrate that. Doesn't matter who's in office, because who's in office comes and goes with the wind.
Yep. I just think that critical theory is it's Mad Magazine's lower expectations, man. It just holds people down, just like the Democrats do to the black community. They basically demoralize them. They basically tell them that they're not capable of turning on a laptop or voting or getting directions. I mean, they down talk them all the time. Is that not lower expectations? Have you seen Mad Magazine's lower expectations? I think that's the Democrat Party.
Yeah, it's the bigotry of lowered expectations. And again, it comes down to the critical race theory. If you implement ID, how can we criticize that? Well, it would, hurt black people because, quote unquote, as they say on the left, I don't say, black people can't get ID. Okay,
Right.
boom. Now that's somehow makes sense in this critical race theory ideology. Yet when you ask somebody on the street in Harlem, do you have an ID? They're going to look at you cross-eyed and say, of course I have an ID. How would I do anything in life without an ID? You know, can you buy a pack of smokes? Can you purchase alcohol? Can you go to a movie that's R-rated? Can you do anything in life? Can you go to the bank without an ID? And the answer is no. So I don't know. We're in a situation here where we just need to come together, man. It's the 250th anniversary of America. Damn it, let's just spend July celebrating it. Let's spend the June celebrating America. Let's get out there and get patriotic. Wear the red, white, and blue. Let everyone know that you love this country. And if they look at you cross-eyed, say, what, man? It's America. Can't you just celebrate America without like having it to be about your Trump derangement syndrome? Right? Just celebrate America. It's not that hard to love your country.
I think it's a good thought. I don't think it's going to resonate, unfortunately. Think about it. You know, if they're into the constant doom and gloom and they like that place, they literally like to be in that place. You understand? So they don't want to celebrate anything because they don't think anything is good. Everything is bad. And it's sort of this, you know, staring into the abyss thing. And that's all they ever see. So, I mean, I think, you know, independence and, you know, MAGA and probably some conservatives will celebrate it like, you know, nothing we've ever seen before, but it will be criticized highly by the left and the mainstream fake news media as well.
Yeah. I'm going to party like it's 1999 personally, but man, we talk about Trump derangement syndrome, and Dr. Oz was asked about this specifically the other day. Here's what he had to say.
Medical advice for the Americans out there that are suffering from a very serious ailment called Trump derangement syndrome.
I am concerned about folks who have focused their entire life energy on dislike of the president. It's disheartening to see people lost in that way, but you know, it's treating stupid is really hard, and it becomes a real problem. And these folks are off GLP-1s. I mean, yeah. let me just answer.
How do you treat stupid?
Treating stupid is really
how do you treat stupid? I want to know. I mean, because I don't even think there is a drug for stupid.
For being here today.
Oh, sorry, autoplay, man. Yeah, funny stuff. Dr. Oz, who's, you know, head of the CMS. So he's, you know, in the government, in authority, and yeah, there's a disease out there, folks. It's a disease. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. It makes you think that the president has way, 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 way more power than he does. And it makes you think he's doing really, really awful things when he's not. Did you see these rioters out there in New Jersey this week?
Mm-hmm. I sure did.
Crazy on stupid, on dumb.
They just don't stop, man. You know, I don't know how it keeps churning like the Energizer Bunny, other than like we've talked about on the show before. And even the White House has suggested that they're getting funding, you know, outside funding. And that's what's probably keeping a lot of it alive, as well as the mainstream media not condemning it. They don't condemn the violence when they become violent. And they do. They become violent. Many times they have to be arrested because they incite violence. They threaten to kill, you know, ICE agents, their family and their children. I mean, that's ludicrous, man.
Yeah, a guy just got pinned up for that the other day. We saw him on tape just a couple days ago saying, you know, I'm going to kill you and your family and your, you know, everyone you know. And like, not that I wish they all die or something. It's I am going to kill you. I know what you look like and I know where you live.
Oh, yeah.
You know, meanwhile, the guy doesn't have a mask on, so he's just out there in the open. So facial recognition caught him in about 2 minutes. And, you know, there was a knock on his door about an hour later.
Have you ever thought that this is exactly why the Democrats at D.C. wanted to demask all the ICE people so that they could put their lives in danger? I think that's exactly why they did it. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, in Minnesota and California, absolutely. That's precisely why they want to demask them, so that they can find out who they are personally and go after them and make their life a living hell.
Yeah,
24/7, not just when they're clocked in. To work, you know, and they would rationalize that though, right, Barry? I mean, they're going to say, hey,
not a politician. They wouldn't do it. They would just wind up these Antifa thugs or the radical left to do it. But we need to clarify. We're not saying the people in D.C. would do that, but they
they do though. They do to some degree. They definitely do. When they come out and say, we're at war, it's all war all the time. From the Speaker of the House or the Democratic Minority Leader, all the way up to, we got to get them in their house. They're wishing death on Trump on television. You name it. There is no restraint whatsoever from these people. I've got clips, I've got articles up here, of people calling for let's put every Trump in jail. Here's Paul Krugman the other day from the New York Times.
They may incite it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But they're not the ones that are going to go out and actually hurt
Trump as much as possible and make sure that neither he nor anybody who follows in his footsteps has power after the next two elections. But beyond that, we really need to do a thorough purging of the United States. We need a demogification, and that is, I'm not going over the top by using a word that's very similar to the denazification that we pursued successfully after World War II in Germany. And we need something, it's not just the MAGA ideology, but the whole structure of hugely unequal power, hugely unequal wealth that made this horrific moment possible. It's not going to be easy, and maybe it's not going to be doable, but we have to try.
In Germany, they put people in camps. That's what he's calling for. Right. And that was, by the way, a source back to Paul Krugman's own Substack channel. He put that on his Substack. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he said
77 million people you want to put in camps.
Well, he said he wants to do away with the whole structure. What's the structure? Our democratic republic, basically. That's like you're talking about. It's a socialist, Marxist, globalist thing of totalitarianism, fascism, communism, all kind of mixed together in a soup. Whatever it is to take us down. Forget the fact that we have a constitutional republic and we have our right to have our opinions and have our voices and to love America, love the Constitution, love the Bill of Rights. We get that right whether you like it or not. And again, I'm just saying, because I gotta come back on what you were saying. I'm not saying that the establishment isn't inciting violence. I do believe they do, but I'm saying they're doing that to wind up the lunatics that are on the ground. Yeah. To then go forth and do some kind of violence. Yes, they're responsible for it, but they'll never get their hands dirty doing that because they don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, but there's Paul Krugman calling for giving you a green light to go out and punch a Nazi in the nose. Just giving you a green light. They're Nazis. We got to treat them like Nazis. We got to root out Trumpism completely and make sure they never have any power again. Nobody on the right talks like that.
Not that I know of.
If they did, they'd be called a fool. If you heard DeSantis come out and, talk like this, it'd be shocking. It'd just be unbelievable. It'd be impossible almost. But Cruz go out and talk like this, easy peasy, right? Mm-hmm. Put him in camps. And he's not the only one, man. Watch The View on any given day. Nazis, the word Nazi probably comes up in every single transcript of The View for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I hate to see it, but it's. Mm-hmm. I think it's inevitable that they're going to increase that because they're losing. And the more that they're losing, the more that they've got to become insane. And so, that probably means more people are going to get hurt, unfortunately. But at the end of it all, it's going to expose who they are. That there's a coup underway to basically take America down and everything that it stands for, because we've talked about it over and over. There's a dichotomy that's forming, and everybody with two eyes can see it, except for those that have their head buried in the sand because they're just so brainwashed. But you're never going to win those people over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you put people together in this environment? You bring them together on the opposite side of what this guy, lunatic Paul Krugman's talking about, because look, folks, if you're not part of the 77 million that they want to treat this, they want to de-brainwash or brainwash or whatever, put you in a room, make you stare at a wall like Clockwork Orange and watch movies for half a day until you come to your senses. And so you start saying, yes, sir, break you down like they did in 1984 with Orwell in his book, break you down to the point where you suddenly aren't even human anymore. You've lost your mind and you'll agree to anything because you're a broken human. Is that really what you want to see happen to the country, to the other 77 million people? Even if you're a compassionate Democrat, you really want to see your Republican neighbors go away to a camp. A camp.
It's ludicrous.
Maybe they lose their home and they're not your neighbors anymore because they spent 6 months in a camp and they couldn't afford their mortgage.
Well, they have to be fueled and filled with literal hate and intolerance. I mean, there just is no other logical explanation. There's something wrong with their mind. They're not in their right mind. I'm not a doctor, so I couldn't say they're mentally ill, but they're acting kind of like mentally ill people. I mean, I think anybody can observe that just objectively as a citizen and say they look like and they're acting like they're mentally ill.
Yeah, it's a real disease. Yeah, it really is. Trump derangement syndrome is a thing. We kind of joke about it, and someone came up with it, and look what they have. But it's a thing now. It's an actual real disease that people get, and they just can't see reality. They can't see anything other than anger and hatred for just if he gets up and says, it's a beautiful day. I wish America a great, beautiful, happy day. Hatred. Screw you. You go to hell. How dare you wish me a happy day? Okay. I just tried to wish you a happy day. That's all, man. If you want to take it that way, go for it. See if I care. Lunatic.
I mean, more than anything, I wish that things were better. I mean, I wish that we could just, get along. I know it sounds so cliche. And I don't think there is any quick solution to that. I think that you just have to play the long game and let it play out, let it fizzle out on its own through exposure, through disclosures, and let majority of people figure it out on their own. And we've seen that happen to a great degree in the Democrat Party. Many people wake up and they realize that what they were told about MAGA was a lie. I mean, how many videos are out there of Democrats that are waking up? Now, I'm not saying that they're necessarily going to become Republican, but at least they're exiting the Democrat Party and they're either becoming like an independent or maybe a libertarian. And some of them are coming over to MAGA as well.
They're saying goodbye to the lunacy one way or another, and it's just that much more loss of support. And, we look at the crazies like AOC, and she's pretty moderate compared to the Democrat socialists that she claims to be part of. But I don't think she really supports them to the degree that she thinks she does, because they're much more radical than she is. As radical as she is.
Maybe.
Just something to say, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, folks, they're a real stain on society, but I don't want them, going to camps to be reprogrammed. Right. Yeah, I wish it was, it'd be a good idea if they listen to our show every week.
Well, the way you reprogram people is you just continually speak the truth. That's how you reprogram people. Can't put them in a camp, brainwash them, and tell them what they have to believe. That's never going to work. You just have to keep speaking the truth, But I'm kind of done with speaking to people that are completely out of their mind. Did you see the video of the guy that was being challenged in the street by a big guy, and he was just yelling in his face, constantly, and just calling him every name in the book? And that's kind of how I see the left now. They're just like, and when I'm on X, you know what I'm saying? I'll go and comment on the Democrats and I give my opinion, and my whole notification just lights up hundreds of comments. And the comments are never challenging me on my position. It's just screaming and yelling and calling me every name in the book that you could possibly imagine. And I just look at it and I go, who are these people? They're not in their right mind.
For nothing that's that controversial either. I mean, you go back with anything that you believe today, and you back 30 years, and it's pretty standard common sense. 40, 50 years, and it's just, JFK was completely, you'd post that and JFK would like it up and share it, It just shows how far the Democratic Party's come. You go back in time and there were no gay rights. Now everyone agrees, yes, gays should have equal rights on every level, of course. But it wasn't a thing back in the day. And yet, I don't know, like, if anyone wants to go back a little bit anywhere, let's not transition all these kids at once. You're a monster, and you want dead babies, and you're a monster, and you're Hitler, and you deserve to die. You deserve to be Charlie Kirk, as they like to say nowadays. They make fun of it. You deserve to be Charlie Kirk. Boom, and they'll point to their neck, and it's disgusting. Folks, we've got to go to break, though. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break. Good wrap up.
Break.
All right, into hour one.
You act like you feel relieved, man.
Yeah, Doc was listening to us over on Rumble.
What's up, Doc? Or was,
Doc?
I think he's still there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or he's just got us tabbed up or something like that. Who knows? But, yeah. Guess John's taking care of something with...
I got me a Nutty Buddy.
Oh, you got yourself a Nutty Buddy. Oh, those are so good.
Another Nutter Butter peanut butter sandwich cookie from Nabisco.
Yeah, I needed something to hold me over for the next hour.
I'm getting hungry, but I'm as soon as we're done, I'm cooking dinner, man. I am starving. Went grocery shopping yesterday, so I got food. It's good to go. I think I'm going to make some homemade salsa again as well.
I got some summer sausage the other day, and it's sliced real nice. And I think I'm going to make me a couple of those for sandwiches. Take some of that for some.
Is it officially summer yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It snuck up on me. I didn't even think I saw that happen.
Yep. Memorial Day. The beginning of it. That's when most of the swimming pools open, so you can say, "Oh yeah, we're
gonna have to go into the other room here pretty soon."
Yeah, we're gonna do that now. Okay. So I'll see you on the other side. All right, that was the first hour of Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. The second hour coming right up. Getting the folks together again. Do. John and Barry tonight.
I was going to tell you, I think it's still on YouTube for free right now, and it's on a bunch of other movie platforms for free, I think, as well. Children of Men. So if you want to watch it, it'd be a good time to check it out. John?
Yeah, I remember that.
It's on YouTube for free right now, probably on Roku and maybe Tubi. I don't know. I know it's on YouTube. I saw it the other day. And it probably won't be on there for too much longer, but it's a good flick, man. Okay. And the interesting thing is, I mean, when I first saw it, like however many years ago when it came out, like 20 years ago, although it's not really a dated film, it's really done well. But I thought, yeah, that doesn't sound like a real scenario because it's all the women are unable to get pregnant anymore. And the whole story is based around one woman who gets pregnant. Yeah. And but now with all the the way they're hammering us with, being able to, sperm counts are low and people are having difficulty getting pregnant. I was like, wow, it's an extreme version of what's happening, but it's not completely based in fantasy. There's some reality to it. And I've been seeing more and more videos on X and elsewhere, YouTube as well. And I knew a guy that had it, has alpha-gal syndrome. I have the guy that Cheapo Depot I talk about a lot, the place I used to shop at. They closed down permanently this last month. But the guy that was part owner in it, he was a farmer, and he got bit by that tick, that Lone Star tick, and can't eat meat. And it can kill you if you eat meat. You can die. And people have died eating the meat. So I've heard, I haven't confirmed it yet, but I heard there's like 400,000 people that have alpha-gal syndrome. That's a lot of people if that's the case. 400, almost 500,000 people in America can't eat meat anymore. You know, that's kind of a that's some kind of a globalist creation, man. That didn't happen naturally. I don't.
Bill's probably shouting for joy on that one. Other than he's like, man, the numbers aren't there yet.
Probably they'd modify everything: mosquitoes, ticks, you name it, dude. They like to jack everything, and then and of course, they'll probably say, well, we did it, but it was a unknown side effect. We didn't. Right. Even though they talk about doing that exact same thing at TED Talks, there's actual video of that, where a guy talks about the alpha-gal syndrome, and we can genetically engineer people in a similar way to where they won't eat meat. So these are psychopaths, man. I'm telling you, I wouldn't put past any of them that they did this already.
I can't remember the last time I watched a TED Talk. It's been a while.
Well, it's all been compromised now. I think it started out, if I remember correctly, kind of on the right foot and the right track. But you know how everything, if anything ever takes off, it always gets compromised. I'm even hearing crazy stuff about, what's his name? Mr. Beast. He's like, he's like into the fake meat now. He's backing that, and he's getting money from like the Rothschilds or Rockefeller Foundation, or I don't know exactly who, but just some really like controversial.
They're bringing him into the fold.
They're bringing him in, dude, because you can't
line
get
of beef jerky.
What's that?
I think he has a line of beef jerky that's pretty popular.
Well, I'm hearing now that he's working on the Bill Gates lab meat. So we'll see if that's the case, man. It just proves, man, once you get to a certain level, they pull you aside, give you a little talk. And of course, maybe money talks and everything else walks, and that's why he took the deal. He said just the other day, I did see this, and I can confirm that he said this. He says he's basically broke. He's the richest broke person out there because he has less than $1 million in the bank account because all of his money is tied up. So he's a broke billionaire, he says. But what you don't realize is you can get money anytime you need it because of what your net worth is worth. You're never going to run out of money. So he's just giving a sad story to the public to make us think he's not really rich and he's struggling like the rest of us.
And he does spend. I mean, I've seen some of the productions he does. They're just insane.
He built a bridge and things like that, or something like that, down in South America.
Millions of dollars on a video.
Yeah. But
it seems like he's getting more and more sketchy. I've been watching all these videos over the last couple of years, and he kind of was just like a good guy doing good deeds. But then it seems like there's a lot of things that just started happening, and sketchy things started happening. He seemed kind of sketchy, and now if all the stuff I'm hearing is true, he seems even more sketchy. And before you know it, dude, he's a globalist stooge.
Mm-hmm.
And because, and think about it, if you're the globalist, that's the guy you want because everybody loves him. Well, not everybody. But he's got a huge following, so a lot of people do love him. So, we need this guy on our team. That's how that works.
Yeah, 30 seconds, guys.
It can make your life real easy or real hard.
Exactly. Just like you see in the movies.
Gonna make him a deal that he can't refuse.
Gonna make you a deal you can't refuse. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're back live and on the radio side for the second hour right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for June 3rd, 2026. 1 month out from the 250th, the Quisca Centennial or something. For the United States of America, 250 years, folks. The bicentennial was so much easier, but
I agree.
Anyway. Here we are. We're coming up on it, and very exciting times. Very exciting times. The next month is just going to be a celebration of America. It's going to last through the fall, and we're going to have all kinds of wonderful celebrations and happenings occurring all across our country to hopefully bring us all together. Bring us all together, man. Make everybody love everybody. Okay? Everybody love everybody, period. Go do it.
Yeah. Well, I think we need a united stand. I've been using that phrase for, 7, 8, 9 years, that eventually we're going to have, our united front that we have will transition into a giant united stand across the whole United States. And maybe there has to be some kind of another big event that happens. I don't mean necessarily something bad, but something big might have to happen. Usually there are these transitional events that happen before, good things can kind of happen. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we get something like that before the 4th of July. We get some sort of an event, maybe not as big as we would like, but something that kind of hopefully brings us together and unites us. I mean, because I think that's going to be an important key to whether or not this is going to be a successful celebration or not.
Yep. I hear you, man. It's going to be a big deal that we make sure America comes together, man. We just got to really bring it all in. And sorry, I'm distracted by something right now. Okay, they're figuring it out. Good deal. Yeah, but anyway, what's going on in the world? Iran today launched a bunch of missiles across the Middle East, the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, not many casualties, but a lot of people, once again, pretty ticked off that Iran is just, on the verge of saying, yeah, maybe we want peace, maybe we won't. No, maybe we'll just bomb everybody again. What do we care? It's it's not, I don't think, going to come to any sort of a negotiated end. I hate to say it, but I think this thing, we're just dealing with people that want war, that want to be at war with the rest of the world, that want to, see the giant Satan and the little Satan destroyed completely, and they'll never back down from that because it's in their religion. It's just at the core of who they are. It's what they believe and worship to every single day, is the death and destruction of, their enemies. And, guess what? They see us as their enemies, so off you go. It's going to be an ugly scene.
Yeah.
I don't know, Barry. I'm kind of pessimistic now. I think, we're starting to get to the point where Trump is going to realize there's only one way to end this thing, and it's just going to be a whole heck of a lot of bombs. But I don't know. Maybe he just says enough is enough, and he backs out and says, Israel, you deal with it, do what you want. We're not part of it anymore. That'd be kind of good. I don't mind that. But it's not going to end here. This is far from over.
Well, I think both sides don't want peace as much as Trump does. In fact, Trump yelled at Netanyahu for continuing bombing Lebanon. And so I mean, he wants peace more than both of the leadership of both of those countries. And I think that's the thing that's messed up. So hopefully he can use his persuasion and diplomatic ability to sort of corral them all in and say, man, this has got to end, because it doesn't end anywhere good. We got to have peace. We got to have peace in the region. We need to move forward. We're not going to have this be another Afghanistan. We're not going to allow that to happen. And I think Trump is very level-headed about it. So let's see what happens. Again, I'm not losing too much hope. I'm just hoping that something can be resolved before the 4th. I think we need that under our belt. I think that will really unite people even more so under not just America, but our president as well.
Yeah, and plummeting gas prices wouldn't be a bad thing. Just straight up plummeting. Like, you're driving home on your last little sip of gas because when you go down there tomorrow morning, it'll be 20 cents cheaper.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I'm not driving as much as I was, so I just kind of compensate, and So I don't really notice the higher gas prices too much because I've really cut back driving that much, you know, and I don't really need to be driving a whole bunch of places. My work doesn't demand that, just driving constantly. So it is what it
Yeah,
is.
same
See
here.
it go down though, but
Yeah, same here. I'm good for like a while. I maybe, you know, once I see a decent price somewhere, I'll probably stop and fill up, but it could be a month from now. I don't drive hardly ever, and I have a massive gas tank.
you do.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's 35 gallons. So when I fill up, it lasts me, you know, many months.
Yeah.
But it costs an arm and a leg.
I was going to say add that to 35 times $4 or more. I think it's actually, I think it is. It's hit. I think even Oklahoma hits $4 now. Or maybe even a little bit more than that. So it was down almost a couple of bucks, and I was really liking that.
Yeah, it's what we need. A good shot in the arm so everybody can get out there for the 4th of July. Because, you know, again, part of doing 4th of July is doing those road trips, getting out there on the road. You know, having, you know, all your friends and family drive 3 hours somewhere where, you know, you can go party in a different, you know, atmosphere. It's, you know, it's the American way, road trips.
I just want to see the conflict end in a way that's victory for the whole world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the worst case scenario is he bows out and just declares victory when really there wasn't a victory. A partial victory maybe, but not a full victory. You know what I mean? And so I'm hoping and praying we get a full victory. I think that's because, look, man, we not only have the 4th of July, but we have midterms coming up. And I mean, we're probably still going to do quite well because the Democrats are so insane that that's going to help us. But and I know that Trump will make things right before his term is over, but he needs to start, you know, he needs to really bust some moves on the economy and bust some moves in some domestic ways between now and the midterms. And I think he's doing that. We also need to see some more arrests, indictments, and hopefully some convictions as well. Those deep state thugs that have committed crimes need to be held accountable. That's something that I think would unite Americans as well. It would enrage the lunatic left, but that's not our problem.
Yeah, I think if Trump had foreseen how long this would take, he might not have done it. You know, the actions he's taken in Iran now, because, you know, $4.50 gas for 3 months now is not good for anybody. If you want to see the economy rolling on all cylinders and everything, you got to get that back under, you know, closer to 3. And that's where it needs to be, which is where he just about had it to, you know. And now, boom, we've got this, you know, shenanigans going on, whatever it is you want to call it, over in the Middle East. And it's just really weighing on everybody. It's getting to the point where just everyone's sick of it. I hate even having to cover it. You know, I see this come up here and I pushed it back in the second hour because I didn't really want to open with it. It's just a, you know, it's nasty. It's a horrible story. And let's get it in our rear view mirror one way or another, man. It really just has to get there. Hopefully with, you know, Rubio was talking on the Senate or the House today, the last couple of days. And there was one quote I heard from him where he said, look, Trump wants to fix this in such a way that it's not going to be an issue in 10 years. It's never going to be an issue again.
Exactly.
You know, and that would be a beautiful thing, although it's hard for him to get credit for that because everyone in this country has, you know, no attention span. So they're not going to look back in 10 years and go, oh, yeah, Trump did that. Oh, that's a good point. You know, they're just going to say Trump sucked and he, you know, screwed up everything and on and on. But, you know, it is what it is, folks. We live in a very fragmented society where, you know, it was hard for Obama to do anything right in my eyes. Quite frankly, it was nearly impossible for Joe Biden to do anything right in my eyes. Well, I mean, we spent 4 years just ripping on the guy because he, you know, couldn't come up with a good idea, but hit him in the face, you know?
Yeah. I agree. That was a scary 4 years, man. I every now and then I'll reflect on it. It just terrifies me when I think about it. I mean, think about what we endured, man. I mean, we literally endured all kinds of attacks. all kinds of attacks on, basically our rights as a general rule over and over again. They're just infringing constantly and using lawfare against us and censorship and destroying people's lives and creating more division. It was a nightmare for years. I'm surprised. I guess people just had that mentality that, I'm going to get through this because Trump's going to win. And that was kind of, our hope, because we had to have somebody that would come in. And that's the thing with a lot of these people that are criticizing Trump on the right, that have gone black-pilled woke right, as I like to call it. It's amazing how, let's just say, and I've said this before, maybe this ends up being a complete debacle and a failure for Trump. You still can't ignore all the good that he's done as if he hasn't done anything good. And that's the problem with the black-pilled woke right. All they see is the abyss. And I'm against that. I'm not against criticizing Trump. We criticize Trump all the time on this show. We should do that when he goes astray. But you can't go all black-pilled and pretend like he's all of a sudden the devil now, like Owen Schroyer, who literally said on his show that he believes that Donald Trump is the worst president ever. Worse than Biden? Worse than Obama? Really? What is wrong with you, Owen?
Yeah, he's got a good place in his heart, but I'll tell you, the way these activist judges and the far left and everything, the White House might not even get rebuilt by the end of his term, when it should have probably been done. I think it was scheduled for this fall sometime, but it's got to be set back months and months by now. Right. And so they'd want that gaping hole in the White House so that they can run on it next time around. Look what Trump did to your White House. He destroyed it. He leveled it. Instead of saying, look what he did. He built this gigantic, beautiful, ballroom that, by the way, damn well the next president is going to use on a daily basis. If AOC is the next president of the United States, God forbid, that ballroom will be her favorite place by far. She will use it every Friday night and love it. And change the name to the AOC, Memorial Hall or whatever.
Probably. Yeah.
And try to take credit for it. Or best case scenario, they just try to take credit for the construction of it. They don't let Donald Trump fix it, and then the next Democrat gets in office and they build it and they take full credit for it forever. Yeah, we built it. Donald Trump just destroyed it, and then we built it back. Whereas, Donald Trump doesn't know how to build anything. Is that what you're saying? He wasn't capable of building a really nice marble structure.
It's lunacy.
It's lunacy.
I see the top Democrats on X. They're literally showing pictures of the construction and going, look how ugly. And they're like, look, Obama made it beautiful. And Biden made it beautiful. The White House beautiful. And now look what your president. And I'm like thinking, are you completely out of your mind? It's under construction. Do you understand that terminology? Under construction. That's not what it looks like when it's finished. He's fixing it. He's making it beautiful. But this is how insane the left is. They always have to have something to come after Trump about. I mean, literally, you're talking about something that's under construction as if it's going to stay that way forever. These are nutty people.
But with these activist judges, it will stay like that forever. The Kennedy Center, they just basically stopped construction on it. An activist judge stepped in and Donald Trump said, fine, you know what? All this work, this beautiful work I was going to do to the Kennedy Center, screw it. I'll send it to the House where it'll languish forever and nothing will get done. And so the reconstruction of the Kennedy Center is not going to happen anymore. It'll probably be condemned sometime in the next, decade, because apparently it's in really, really bad shape and it's dangerous.
Yeah. And those are leftist judges that are ruling like that.
Yeah.
And I think they're ruling against him even having his name up there.
Oh, absolutely. The last thing they want is his name up there. And it was very premature for him to do that. He should have waited till it was already, pretty much rebuilt and then said, now I put my name on it because it's a masterpiece. If they're not going to rebuild it, then he doesn't even want his name on it. Right?
He probably should have temporarily put Joe Biden's name up there. And then they would have embraced it. And then he could have taken it down after it was finished and put his name up. Now that would have been 5D chess, if you ask me.
Yeah, right. So many ways to play the game, but yeah, it's It's really frustrating to see. Now, a lot of these things in the Parks Department we talked about in the first hour have been accomplished, cleaning up statues and whatnot, making them look all good again. But, some of these big things, is the fountains in Washington, D.C., the pond, the reflection pond. As I understand, it's still halted at this point, and it's like 1/3 painted and the other 2/3 is not painted, and they're trying to stop him from completing the painting of it. At this point, just let him paint the damn thing. What do you want it 1/3 painted? And so then what? People are actually going to go out and look at the 1/3 that's painted and say, wow, that looks really nice. What are they going to do the rest? Well, guess what? The Democrats are stopping them from doing that. So now we're going to have an empty pond here that's half painted for the rest of his term. Just pure ridiculousness that makes no sense. I mean, he already started painting them. Just let him finish it. And then if you want to sue him, you can sue him to undo it and put it back to the moldy gray that it was before, instead of the vibrant blue that actually reflects everything,
Well, wasn't the left, somebody from the left, I think it was under the Obama administration, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he said, when they go low, we go lower. And I think that is the Democrat Party, because I think they sabotage Trump strictly for the sole reason so they can then lie and say, look at what a failure he was. No, he was actually trying to do good, but you constantly sabotaged him because you didn't want America to succeed under his presidency because you hate America. That's why.
Yeah. They just want to break America into a new country that, again, is a socialist country. So it's not that they hate the people of America or the land. They just hate the government. They hate the system that enables the people to make the choice, that puts the power with the people. They don't want that. They want a centralized, powerful government that controls everything. And, shockingly, they call Trump a fascist, yet that is inherently what they're looking for when they go to Bernie Sanders and say, go confiscate half of all the stock from every AI company in the country, which is what, SpaceX? What is Grok even owned by? Is that Tesla or X? Or is Grok its own company? So, yeah, you're going to take up half of Elon Musk's, net worth? Microsoft. How do you peel out their AI and spin it off in a new country and then you give us half the shares of it? It's ridiculous, folks. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you're going to take half, you might as well take all of it, and then they can wash their hands of it, and you can watch it decay and turn into garbage in the swamp that is Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying? It's you might as well just confiscate it all and make it mean nothing and give China the win on the whole thing.
I hope not, man. I hope he can just, push through all the sabotage. It does seem like, he wins on most of the things. And what they do best is not getting Trump to fail. What they do best is slowing his progress down. They know they probably can't stop him completely, so they want to just impede whatever good that he wants to do. And I think that's their strategy. And maybe hopefully, demoralize, get the people to capitulate, get the people to turn on Trump, get Trump to capitulate. But that's never going to happen, dude. We're in this for the long haul, and I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it to win it. So they can do whatever they want. All they can do basically at the end of the day is delay the inevitable restoration of America if we stick with it. That's the key. And we don't capitulate and we don't roll over, because we are making progress. But when we start going, it's not moving fast enough, and then you retreat, that's when you lose. I did a whole post on how we win and how we lose, and I laid it out perfectly and simply and concisely so that everybody can understand.
How we win or lose, man. Just that's it, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we win by sticking with it and being relentless and never capitulating. We lose by capitulating. That's how we lose. Yeah. And that's not everything I wrote in the post, but that's sort of it in a nutshell, in a simplified version.
Yeah, folks, meme them until they cry. And then when they start crying, make more memes about them crying. That's how you beat them.
Okay. I mean,
you push their insanity into their face in such a way that everybody can see it and say, oh, my Lord, you really want to trans children? You really want to do that to little kids? Cut off their genitalia or whatever before they're old enough to drive a car? Before they're old enough to understand or even develop or have any clue what life is about? You want to make permanent, lifelong decisions for them when they can't even vote, when they're still in middle school or high school, and then say, well, you know, their suicide rate is so high that if we don't trans them, they might kill themselves. But guess what? Transing them doesn't lower the suicide rates in any way, shape, or form. It probably increases them. But on that note, we've got to take a break. Folks, this is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. We'll be right back after these messages. And
all right, on radio break.
I got to step away for a minute. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah. Guys are doing good tonight.
Cool, man. Are you getting some good conversation in the chat rooms? Are you
here and there? Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions for us?
No. When I get those, I usually, post those right away or cut in.
Yeah, well, I'll just say, since for those that are listening during the breaks, my post on how we win and how we lose. How we lose, I talked about how if we don't match the vigor and we don't match their relentless attitude, the attitude of the globalist and the radical far left, because they're very organized, mobilized, and they just never go away. They're like that mosquito or that just follows you around no matter how much you try to get away from it. And if we don't match or exceed that, that's how we lose. And so I think we're getting to that point where we're starting to exceed their level of vigor and their fervor and their passion and we're organizing and stuff. It's just if we don't match their level, we're definitely going to lose, because these people, think about it, dude. They've been doing what they've been doing for decades, not just since Trump came to the scene. Mm-hmm. They've been doing what they've been doing for decades.
Hey, John, you there? Oh, yeah, he hasn't come back yet. Okay, I was going to say, we talk a lot about California, but we need to get someone from California in here to talk about it, too. I think Wobbly would be great if we could take and get him in here. Might want to mention that to him. I'm not sure if he can hear me or not. Because he deals with it every day since he lives in California. And he, someone that's lived there for as long as he has, he's got a really good understanding of what's really going on there. Sometimes he loses his mind because, the way, none of us are from California, so we can't really say from that perspective.
Right.
So maybe bring him in as a guest sometimes, or I'm sure he'd come in.
Sure. I mean, I kind of feel for the guy if he's, having to deal with all that, because, I mean, I feel very fortunate living in Oklahoma, and the fact that I'm self-employed. I don't have to work. Like, I have a friend of mine. He's got he works, around a lot of people, and one of the guys is like terrible person, Antifa type person, woke to he's constantly interjecting this stuff at the workplace. In fact, it got so bad about 2 months ago. He was talking so much smack, he got into a fist fight with one of the employees.
Oh, no.
And yeah, but neither one of them, unfortunately, got fired. But it's just like this.
Did they finally split them up on shifts then? No.
I don't think so. And what's worse, the day that Charlie Kirk died, the day after, he walked by my friend's office space, and he celebrated Charlie Kirk's death to his face.
Oh, see, the death of anyone is not good. It's like everybody knows that, everyone has family. All right.
He did tell.
Even Hitler had family. Get him out of power. Yeah, they did that. All right. But hey, try him. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, there were crimes. All right. So, but there's going too far.
Oh, he did it on purpose to antagonize him.
We got we're got the countdown. So if he doesn't come back, bring us in, Barry.
I hear him.
I'm here.
You here? Did you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
I hear you.
All right.
You hear me?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition. We're also on every Sunday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Pacific, where we do the same kind of show. It's just maybe we have a little bit more fun. We have a segment in there where we bring in Willie from Willie's Worm Farm and talk to him about all the goings on down in the deep south of the United States and the status of our country, therefore. You've met Willie before, Barry.
I heard. Guy, right? I heard he's working on a new recipe called poo chili.
Poo chili.
I don't know if
it's he was just invested. Like he apparently over the last 6 months they've been liquidating his entire Bitcoin collection to purchase land on what's called the Pupu Plateau in Hawaii, which is a giant lava vent, which is supposed to be the largest creation of land in modern history. This lava vents will be pumping lava out into the ocean, creating new land off the east coast of the Hawaiian Big Island. And Willie's heavily invested in that. It should be very interesting to see if he can turn his, 5-10 acre beachfront property into maybe a couple hundred acres over the next 1,000 years.
Oh, man, he's always on the cutting edge. You got to hand it to the guy. The guy's got ideas.
It's generational wealth, man. It's just free money forever.
I don't know how he does it, man. And at his age, I mean, he's got the passion of an 18 or 20-year-old, man. He's like a machine.
Yeah. I should really start bringing up his age a lot more. Why not? Anyway, in other news, Henry Nowak is becoming a household name in England and much of America as well. He was a college student, a finance major, out on the town one night, and, pretty much was not intoxicated as per the original reports. He blew a number that would have allowed him to drive a car. And in essence, he got into a confrontation with someone from the Sikh community. And that member of the Sikh community took his ceremonial dagger and stabbed him 6 or 7 times. And then claimed racism, racism, racism. The cops show up. The Nowak guy is saying, hey, I can't breathe. I was stabbed 6 times. And they say, look, buddy, you weren't stabbed. Deal with it. You called him racist names. Therefore, you're the bad guy. He's the innocent victim. The guy who stabbed you 6 times is the innocent victim. You're the racist. We're putting you in handcuffs right now. Putting him in handcuffs. While he died and bled out on the spot, once he was handcuffed, they tried to get his attention. Can you hear me? They read him his rights. Can you hear me? His eyes aren't reacting. Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, the Sikh family, the mom tried to take the dagger and hide it. The father tried to obfuscate and lie and, set up the situation as if they were witnesses and they heard the whole thing and this kid was being racist and yada, yada. Well, England is pissed. They've had enough because this is their I'm trying to remember the dude's name. I can't breathe, BLM.
Floyd.
But yeah, George Floyd. This is their George Floyd moment for the white minority in England. For the minorities, the white people. The people who are now the minority in their biggest city, London. In their capital city, you walk down the street, they're 30% of the population. And they're sick of it. They're sick of the 2-tiered justice system. They're sick of the way the cops are trained. The cops were trained to always look at and take the brown person's word on it, especially when it has to come to anything to do with racism, to take their word for it, slap the white guy in handcuffs and then figure it out later. I mean, I hate to say it. It sounds horrible to even have those words come out of my mouth, but that's what's happening in the UK today. And they're getting really pissed off about it. And I'm telling you, folks, it's going to snap. It's going to snap. There's a lot of people in England that have no problem throwing fists. They have no problem. And we're going to start seeing situations more and more where you're on the bus and someone, from another country is there doing lewd things to your women, to your elderly, acting like a fool. And a lot of these people for many, many years knew better than to get involved. They just simply walked away and let that victim fend for themselves. You don't get involved. I'm telling you, they're going to start getting involved. You're going to start seeing people getting their butts kicked hard in the streets, going to the hospital, and they're going to deserve it. You just can only push people so far. You can only push people so far before they start going back in the streets and really making life difficult for the powers that be. Every single time England has had a chance to vote on their future, every single time their vote has been ignored and disregarded, and the government goes on to do the exact opposite and bring in more people and more people and more people until now. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of these pictures of the countryside, scenic places out in the countryside that are just beautiful spots. You got to drive an hour or two to get to that are, maybe a little pond, maybe a lake, whatever, a beach with a rock formation. That's really cool. And they're just overwhelmed with Bangladeshis. Just overwhelmed with Indians, overwhelmed with people from other cultures who make things very uncomfortable for somebody who might just expect to go down to the beach and just have a nice, relaxing day. It's not a relaxing environment at all anymore. It's a hectic madhouse now. Yeah. People fighting, people, man, there were scenes in Germany.
Trash. They do things differently, man.
Yeah. It's just culture, man. It's just a different culture. They do things differently, And I mean, in India, they poop right on the sidewalk. As you're walking down the street, you got to take one. You just go over to the side. You drop a deuce right in the street and then pull up your pants and keep going. And that's not considered a negative thing for them. Now, you and I, as Americans, we might look at that and say, wow, that's disgusting. I can't believe you do that. But to them in their culture, it's not bad. It's just a thing. When you have garbage, you simply throw it on the ground. That's their culture. And yes, there's garbage everywhere, but that's the culture of it. It's much easier to just have garbage everywhere than to have to, take the time to throw it in a bag and actually dispose of it properly. And it's acceptable. Is that acceptable to us? No. But hey, man, when you're going to go to, the beautiful beaches and stuff and trash them, well, what do? Can you say that's wrong? Well, they're not going after your culture. They're just celebrating their culture. So you can't really criticize that, can you? You can't say, boy, the beach looks like trash now. You just got to live with it and say, well, that's part of the new Britain. It's part of the new England. The new England. Not really. Not New England.
The globalist plan to create a scorched earth. Michael Savage has talked about it. And the globalist leftist scorched earth agenda is to destroy all the nation's cultures and sort of create this chaos so that it collapses, so that they can then rebuild it in sort of their liberal world order. The Great Reset, call it what you will. We've talked about it 1,001 different times, but it is a scorched earth agenda. And this has been well known for quite a long time ago. And look, we've all seen this day coming. We've been talking about this for a long time. You and I have, John. And in fact, 4 weeks ago, I made a big deal about it. You said, hey, Barry, you got a minute and a half. Do you got anything you want to say to people? And I said, yes, there is something I want to say. I want to say that the two worlds are about to collide. We are on the trajectory of a collision course right now, and good and evil are about to collide. And that's going to cause a serious tremor. And one side's going to come out the victor of that. Hopefully it's going to be the good guys, because people are going to see what's happening. Like you just were talking about, people are fed up with the nonsense and the insanity and the madness. And I heard a former UK British parliamentary guy say that what happened was he was, walking by this guy and he saw because these people are carrying swords and knives and daggers. I mean, things that just kill people with, and not collectible toys, not something that you would use to open up an envelope, but to stab someone multiple times. And they can do that because it's part of their culture. But if you think it's part of your culture to have a knife to carry on your being for self-defense, you don't get to have that in the UK. And he said he walked up to him and he said, "Are you a bad man?" He said, "As a matter of fact, I am a bad man." And he went to stabbing him multiple times. And I saw the guy. I saw a picture of the guy with this purple little, scarf over his head. He looked insane. I mean, he did not look in his right mind. So we're just letting anybody and everybody come over, and they love those people. They celebrate those people because they're helping to tank and collapse the UK so that they can then rebuild a globalist agenda.
Now, I will say that the Sikh community is not a big problem in the UK. It's probably a net positive on, the system. They are generally very, very good people. They do, though, problematically have a mandate in their religion that they carry around a knife on them, a dagger. And it's ceremonial. And a lot of people now are saying in the UK, hey, why are these people carrying around 8-inch knives when nobody in England can carry around a knife? But this one religion gets an exemption so they can carry on their hips out in the open big knives anywhere they go. And they're saying, hey, man, this isn't fair. No, the Sikh community put out a statement and said, yada, yada, we condemn this, and something you would never, ever see from the Muslim community, a complete condemnation of this and support for, everything. But they're really ticked off, though, that it might come down to them not being able to walk around with their knives on their hips anymore, which I don't know how you square that one. You know what I mean? How do you give an entire religion an exemption from the most important laws, apparently, to anyone in England? Because, knives are just, you don't get shot over there, but you get stabbed, I mean, they have stabbings, every half hour in London, it's just all day, every day, but they don't have guns. So you don't get shot, but somebody might stab you. I don't know which is worse.
Well, when I see somebody with a dagger or a sword, a particular image comes to my mind that I've seen over and over and over again over the last 10, 15 years. And that is somebody screaming and shouting Allah Akbar after they stab somebody.
Yeah. You hear that a lot.
So this is what they're allowing to happen. They're actually allowing these groups to put fear in the hearts of, just their average citizen in the UK. And then they're being told they can't defend themselves if they're attacked, because you can't have a knife. I don't even think they can have like a short knife, like a pocket knife even. I don't know. But it's crazy that their culture gets to carry it around when they have a history. Some of the Muslims do anyway. And that's embedded in the psyche of the citizens. They've seen that because they make sure that we see it on the news. Someone's shouting Allah Akbar, screaming with a sword in his hand or a knife in his hand, going around some park, stabbing some child in a carriage. We've seen that happen before. So that's embedded, and they know that, because this is all psychological warfare against their own citizens. It's to demoralize them, make them think that their culture doesn't matter, that their rights don't matter. But these people coming over that they don't even know who or what they represent or believe can do whatever they want and get away with whatever they want. That's madness.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, you want to talk more madness? I got 2 more articles from Europe. French far left leader claims white Christian France never existed, right? A National Assembly person, a leading leftist in the National Assembly, has claimed that France was never a white Christian country and that the idea is merely fantasy of the so-called far right, right? Mathilde Panot, who leads Jean-Luc Mélenchon's La France Insoumise, France and Rebellion Party, LFI, on the lower house of the French Parliament, not only championed the idea of a new France, but appeared to suggest that the old France never really existed. Reading from Breitbart. Wow, that's a take. France was never a white Christian country?
It's called rewriting history. And that's what the globalists and the left loves to do. They love to rewrite history. And then if it's just like 1984, you know what I'm saying? Just like that book.
Yeah.
Like they did to Vincent, you know?
Yeah, but in the most unbelievable way. You know what I mean? Just in the most unbelievable way. Really, France was never like a Christian country. What about Notre Dame? They just built that. They built the giant, biggest, church in the world for fun because they didn't really believe in God, but they just thought it'd be fun to build the biggest church in the world.
Yeah. Absurdity is part of their agenda. And I guess once you control the media and you say the absurdity enough, whether people actually believe it or not, they just accept it. They accept it as the truth, even if they know it's not the truth, because what can you do? It's just being brainwashed into your mind over and over. And that is one thing that the power structure has done so well over the years, is just, repeating a lie over and over so many times. And of course, the bigger the lie, the more apt they are to believe it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it goes on. I said I had 2 articles. The next example is in Spain, demoralization, right? Let's demoralize everybody. Again, reading from Breitbart, quote, migrants have better health than Spaniards and thus use fewer healthcare resources than the native-born population. Spain's socialist government claims through a study published by its own health ministry. So according to Spanish health minister, Monica Garcia, the study states that migrants in Spain make fewer use of the nation's healthcare system. Medications have a lower prevalence of chronic diseases than native-born population, who are attributed by the document of using more intensive use of their own country's healthcare resources. So that's the problem, right? The native-born citizens are using too much of their own healthcare system. The study, titled Health Status and the Use of Health Care Systems Among the Migrant Population in Spain, was presented by Garcia on Monday, according to La Monacola Presidential Palace. The document contains a study that analyzes healthy reality of foreign-born individuals in Spain. Furthermore, the government of Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez claimed that the study confirms the health immigration effect theory, which states that migrants have a health advantage over native-born individuals. Take a deep breath. And then here's the last paragraph of the article, right? Despite migrants' alleged health advantages, as stated by the Spanish health ministry, the institution warned that migrants' health tends to deteriorate over the years as they spend in Spain, a phenomenon that the ministry claims is allegedly caused by unequal access to basic resources, such as decent housing and healthy food, as well as to more precarious working conditions, ongoing exposure to factors in the host society. So to cure that, we don't want them having higher problems later. We've got to get them better housing, better food, better jobs. Otherwise, they're going to be a burden on the healthcare system down the road. So it's cheaper to just buy them a really nice home now. Give it to them free.
I can't even. How can you comment on that? I mean, it's so absurd. What do you even say to stuff like that? I mean, we're at the point now where it's like, even if you debunk it 1,001 times over, they don't stop spreading the lies. They don't stop spreading the madness. They just keep doing what they're doing. I almost feel like we just got to let them do it and let them collapse everything. And then hopefully in the process of everything collapsing, people wake up before it totally collapses, and maybe they can save their nation and restore the power to the people of that nation, because these are not people that you can rationalize with. I really don't believe that at this point in time. I've witnessed it so much, right? That I just don't believe that they want to have a sit down conversation and really just hash things out. I think they just want to keep doing what they're doing because it's all they know. They're desperate and they don't want to lose the power that they've had for so long. The last thing they want is the power being returned back to the people of the nation, period.
Yeah. They don't want that, man. You can't have that. It all crumbles if you give the power back to the people. And, earlier in the show, we were talking about how, you can't have the government controlling all the businesses because it runs it down. That's socialism. But you also can't have the corporations running the government, which is much closer to what we have now with all the lobbyists. You know what I mean? So you need something else. And what you need is the people in power. You need the money out of politics, get the money out of politics, and let the people choose their leaders based on their own interests not based on the leader's ability to lie to them because they're getting so much corporate money that it's just, sorry, I'm just going to lie to the people and tell them I support this when I don't, because, I can't, because the corporate interests have given me too much money. I wouldn't be in office without the corporate interests, so I have to sell out the people. It's a horrible, system we have now, but that doesn't mean we can't fix it within the framework of the United States of America. We just need to remove money from politics, get it out. But anyway, on other news, we saw that Hassan Piker has been under investigation, under subpoena, for his involvement in this, event that went down in Cuba. Was he working for the Cuban government? Is he a agent of the Cuban government? Is he, basically working against the interests of the United States of America, subverting the United States interest in aiding a country that is on our sanction list? And so he's in big trouble. He could be facing a large amount of jail and massive fines. But an interesting addition to that story just came out, where Cenk Uygur and Hassan Piker just this week were denied entry to the United Kingdom. So we saw during the Unite the Kingdom rally that the UK had decided to, ban the visas for many, many people that were set to speak there, including people like Ezra Levant from Rebel News. Suddenly he's been to England 1,000 times. All of a sudden he goes to try to fly there and boom, he can't do it. Because somebody in government decided on a whim that he wasn't safe to allow into the United Kingdom. But now they got him and Hassan Piker. Cenk Uygur and Hassan Piker can no longer do it. And I'll tell you, he's always so smug on, what's his name show that he always goes on, the British guy,
Piers
Morgan. Yeah, Piers Morgan. Cenk is on there all the time. And now it's hard for him to go on that show, isn't it? He's not allowed in England. Why would Piers Morgan have someone who's banned from the country on a show? It takes a little bit of that smugness off that smug Cenk Uygur's fat little face,
Yeah. I mean, I just say don't even listen to the fake news at all. If you can't, you can get away with it. I mean, sometimes you do kind of have to know what's being said there. But certainly, man, look elsewhere besides, yeah, and some of these people in the mainstream media, they're kind of posing as if, we're not completely as radical as you think we are. And that's all just a game, man. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that they're all of a sudden working for we the people. Like, I don't think Piers Morgan, who's a Brit, is working for we the people here in America. So just don't even the guy. Yeah, I just don't trust the guy at all. I don't trust anybody pretty much in the mainstream establishment. There might be a few names on Fox and a few, I use that word, few that I think are okay, but they could turn on a dime because, people, they love to have comfort. And so if they come to them and say, hey, man, you got to stop talking about this. And if you do so, we give you a nice hefty little raise because, with the economy tough and you're used to a certain lifestyle, you don't want to lose that. So people sell out so easily for 30 pieces of silver, man.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Hassan is an enemy of the United States. He said on his podcast that we deserved 9/11.
Wow.
He said all kinds of crazy things that, he would feel better with Hamas in power than Donald Trump in power in the United States. Which I'm sure he would, but he's from Turkey, dude. Go back home. Go back home and run your podcast from Turkey.
I don't know a lot about this story, so let me ask you a few questions if you don't mind, and maybe other people don't that are listening as well. But who is this guy? Is he left? Is he right? Is he what? What? I mean, like what's?
Cenk Uygur or Hassan Piker? Which one?
Piker.
Piker is Cenk Uygur's nephew. He's very far left. He's a very extreme pro-Islamic podcaster.
Okay, I know who the guy
shouts
is.
His dog.
Yeah, I think I've seen the guy before. He's kind of a scrawny, skinny-looking dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he had that meme where he shocked his dog a little while back. He was doing a podcast and his dog was looking to stand up and he's like, lie down. And then the dog yelps and lies down. Yeah, okay. So not a dog lover. He claims to love his dog. I'm sure he does love his dog, but he just, Again, it's a different culture. They treat dogs very, very, very differently in parts of the world. There's many places in the world where, I had neighbors who were Mexican. They had 2 dogs, and I felt really bad for those dogs. They just were not house dogs. You know what I mean? They weren't part of the family. They were just dogs for security or something. You know what I mean?
If he's done treason and stuff, man, they need to go after him if he's guilty of some stuff. And we know that Tulsi Gabbard's going to be dropping a whole bunch of stuff before she leaves. That's pretty much come out. That's I would say, reliable scuttlebutt that's coming out. Before she leaves, she's going to drop everything. Now, does that mean it's going to be passed on to the DOJ for indictments? I sure hope so, because apparently, from what she said in past interviews, man, there's a big case there. A big case.
And on the absolute last bit of news for tonight, the Washington White House Correspondents' Dinner has been rescheduled for July 24th at the the Biltmore in Washington, D.C. The Waldorf Astoria in Washington, D.C. So please, Democrats, we're going to have another chance at this whole White House Correspondents' Dinner. Please don't try to go in there and shoot up everybody. Please don't do it, Democrats. We just want to have a nice night out. On that note, folks, we've got to end the show right here. We are plumb out of time for the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show, but stay tuned to this channel. There's much, much more content coming from Dragus Productions right after these messages.
Thank you for listening to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. If you missed any of tonight's show, you can find it and others in our archives. Thanks again, and you can catch us next week for another brand new show.